Mindy, you're muted. I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry about that, y'all. This is my first time, so bear with me. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us, everyone. My name is Mindy Barraza Corral, and I'm the Senior Manager of HR Marketing, Engagement, and Outreach. I'm a Hispanic woman in her 30s with curly brown hair, medium build. I will be your moderator for this afternoon. So before we begin, a few housekeeping items. We are enabling auto captioning for this session. And we will also be making an alt text version of our PowerPoint presentation available in the chat. Presenters, at this time, may I please ask that you introduce yourselves? And I would like to start off with Juan.
Thank you, Mindy. Good morning, everybody. My name is Juan Vargas. I'm a talent acquisition specialist here at CTA. I am a middle-aged Latino male. I am wearing a blue CTA polo. And that is my introduction. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Delon White. I am one of the managers of the talent acquisition team here at CTA. I'm a woman on the screen with curly brown hair. I'm wearing a black and white shirt and a black jacket. And I look forward to assisting today with the Q&A. Thank you for joining us.
Panelists, Irma, would you like to go next?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Irma Gomez-Fira. I'm the ADA Compliance Programs Manager under the Planning Department. I'm a millennial Latina. I have brown eyes, brown hair. I'm a wheelchair user, and I'm currently wearing a red blouse.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Georgette Hampton, Senior Manager, HR Benefits Services, and I'm an African-American woman wearing a black and white blouse.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Antonio Davis, and I'm an ADA Compliance Auditor, and I'm currently in the Department of EEO, and I'm wearing a baby blue shirt, and I'm an African-American with dark hair.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, everyone. All right, so now we will be starting off today with our ADA panel discussion, followed by our hiring presentation. And time permitting, we will have a Q&A session with some pre-submitted questions. So as some of you may not be aware, July is Disability Pride Month. And today, which is July 26th, is the Americans with Disabilities Act is 33rd anniversary, which is awesome. So this historic Civil Rights Act law protects the rights of folks with disabilities. So in honor of this, today's panel will be focused on continuing CTA's celebration of Disability Pride Month. So today we are joined by three of our fabulous CTA colleagues. They have just introduced themselves, but in the spirit of things, I will ask you to just give us your name, your title, and your department once more before we move on. So Irma, would you like to go again and just read through us name, title, and your department?
Yes, I am Irma Gomez-Fira. I'm the ADA Compliance Programs Manager under the Planning Department.
My name is Antonio Davis, and I'm the ADA Field Compliance Auditor in the EEO Department.
Hi, I'm Georgette Hampton. I'm Senior Manager, HR Benefits Services and Human Resources.
Awesome, thank you all. So first question, can you all tell us about the work that you do at CTA and how it supports the disability community?
I'll go first. My overall position is kind of the umbrella position of ADA. I work with both internal and external ADA related issues. I oversee the ADA Advisory Committee, which is a public committee that gives CTA direct feedback on accessibility. I work with various departments such as ASAP, All Stations Accessibility Program, which is meant to make all inaccessible stations accessible within the next 20 years. I work with RPM, the Rep Monetization Program. I review ADA customer complaints. I give public facing travel training sessions for organizations like the Lighthouse for the Blind, CPS schools, city colleges, and internally I work with Georgette in the Accommodation Review Committee. I review new policies and SOPs, and I also train new employees on disability awareness. So I probably have the longest list of responsibilities. So I do a little bit of everything, and that's why my term is the umbrella ADA person.
Hi, I'm Georgette Hampton, and again, my responsibility is, as it relates to disability, I'm a member of the Accommodation Review Committee, which has oversight for medical accommodations, modifications for employees' workplaces, or for their work assignments or jobs, so that they can, if there's a need for a medical modification, and they seek an accommodation through a request, the formal CTA formal process.
Again, my name is Antonio Davis. I conduct field audits of the CTA bus and rail system and facilities to ensure accessibility to all individuals with disabilities and to ensure adherence to all relevant CTA rules, bulletins, and standard operation procedures. I conduct field audits and ensure information is relevant to the customer service experience.
That's awesome. All of you have so much work and such important work that needs to be done at the CTA. Thank you for sharing. So what changes to CTA's policies, procedures, and/or facilities have you witnessed that have benefited the disability community? Have you been a part of those changes? And if so, how?
I've been at CTA for about 1 year and 3 months. And so far I've seen progress on the ASAP All Stations Accessibility Program, and witness how ASAP gets funded and understand the steps it takes to make a station fully accessible, both architecturally and financially. Also, I've seen the tactile bus stop signs, which have the words bus stop in Braille to help people who are blind or low vision know where the bus stop pole is to prevent pass-ups, and working with the community to get feedback on how we can improve the tactile bus stop signs. And on the internal side, I've also seen how CTA facilities and garages have been accommodating nursing mothers.
I'll elaborate on that. As Irma said, Irma and I work together on the Accommodation Review Committee, and through that committee, I've seen how CTA has upgraded the garages, the bus garages, for lactation purposes. There is a lactation area in each one of the 7 garages, and on each one of the rail lines, there is access to a lactation area. And also working with CTA Wellness, we recently have been able to furnish each one of those lactation facilities with a mini fridge so that the moms can keep their expressed milk while they're on their schedule.
Well, my role here at CTA, I have been employed for the last 21 years. So I have witnessed CTA go from being 40% accessible with the buses to now being 100% full accessible, and that can accommodate all disability passengers. Also, I have seen the rail system become very modernized with elevators that being able to be upgraded, and also with the cart system. The new carts are all accessible. When I first started, we was running a 2000 series, and those carts wasn't accessible at all. I was able to witness us having the 5000 series. So I have been witnessing also the RPM system, the, the red, purple, and modernization system become into existence.
That's amazing. It's amazing to see that the CTA is, showing a very strong commitment to accessibility and to finding, what ways we can do these. As you said, sometimes there are some significant challenges to some of these things, including like infrastructure, architecture, and the like. So that's wonderful. So what are some ways that folks can support people with disabilities, whether it's like friends, families, or more specifically for us, their colleagues?
I think that the main thing is to be respectful and have empathy. You never know who has a disability or what that person may be going through. So always starting small talk and get to know coworkers about any common interests. Disabled people are no different than able-bodied people. But there's still like a lot of stigma around people with disabilities. I think that this kind of stigma is drawn out from when we were kids and we're not interacting with the quote unquote special ed classes. So this kind of separation and segregation was a disadvantage to fully integrate kids and created this negative stigma from an early age to not interact with people with disabilities. But now that we're adults and we know better, we should definitely be integrating people with disabilities and reaching out to colleagues, or just being empathetic and respectful to everyone.
I like to echo that sentiment that Irma said about having empathy. I think I think people should be approachable to their colleagues with people with disabilities, and not shy away from the conversation with the small talk, or even approach them with a serious conversation. We are open. We are open to have conversations and enjoy each other's company. I mean, many of us welcome the conversation of our peers and colleagues. So that's my stance on it.
I think in addition, we also can be a resource to employees. Not everyone knows what's available to them through CTA and where to find it, how to get more information. So I think that just being a resource and assisting people with knowing where to go to get the answers that they need.
Thank you so much for that. Yeah, it's very important to show empathy, to be good allies to folks who are differently abled. So that's wonderful. Thank you for that. So what barriers have you had or perceived for employment of those with disabilities? Like, did you disclose to your potential employers that you had a disability? Why or why not?
When I was younger and fresh out of college, I was a little bit more hesitant to disclose my disability to employers. And I think that's because I also just wasn't as familiar what that meant and how it's essentially just like a question of diversity. Like, are you Latina? Are you male, female? And it doesn't get used against you when it comes to applying for a position. So, and I think because of these negative stigmas that, are associated with people with disabilities, there could always be, those negative interactions with certain interviewers where I've had people when I was interviewing and I was fresh out of college and still trying to figure out the world and everything, be very shocked that I was in a wheelchair whenever I would go in person. And I can tell that there were jobs that were just uncomfortable with me being disabled, and the level of interaction felt a little bit tense. But that doesn't mean that, you should not be proud of being who you are and being you know, true to yourself and what your needs are. So that's why the ADA is there, because it protects you from that type of discrimination, and it protects you from you know, not having the opportunity to say like, hey, like I need assistance with this during the interview process. So it is your right to ask for accommodations at any point. So it's important for you to disclose your disability if you do need that assistance.
I always disclose my disability with any interview or any approach to any situation, because I always want to, be proud and walk in my truth. So it never hindered me or distracted me from being approachable. And actually, it helped me face the situation with boldness, and I've been rewarded that way. So that's my stance on it.
Thank you both so much for sharing. So in the discussion about folks with disabilities, I think from most people, we often think of what we can see, right? So for our folks who are wheelchair users, for example, that's a disability that we can see. So there are also invisible disabilities. Can any of you kind of talk about like what is that? What does that mean? What are some examples?
Yeah, so most disabilities are actually invisible disabilities. These are disabilities that you would not know what that person has, because you just can't just look at someone and tell if they have a disability. Some examples are like hidden medical conditions such as like epilepsy, where someone can look completely fine and they can have an episode from a trigger. A mental health disorder such as depression, anxiety, or even a learning disability that impacts how they read or understand numbers. So it's very likely that you could be sitting next to a colleague or someone that has one of these invisible disabilities, and you wouldn't know unless that they disclose it to you.
So then what resources does the CTA offer to applicants or current employees who need some kind of accommodation? So like, can you kind of talk through what the process would be for requesting such an accommodation?
CTA offers the accommodation of the request for reasonable accommodation process to both applicants and employees. An applicant has that information available to them via the careers website. There's information there to direct them to the committee that has oversight over the accommodation process. There also is a form that applicants and employees need to complete and submit to the committee. And then that form, along with the supporting medical documentation, is reviewed by the committee. And then based on the outcomes, it's reported back to either the applicant or the employee if they can be accommodated.
Awesome, thank you, Georgette. So folks, what advice do you have for potential new employees with disabilities?
I want to echo what Antonio said previously, to be proud of having your disability, and it always usually works for your advantage. I believe that my disability is my superpower. And while it did take me a while to really own that up, because there is so much internalized ableism and just ableism in general, I think that it's important to kind of think about your disability as part of diversity. And the ADA has been here for 33 years, and we need to move past this disability stigma that started, and start being inclusive with those that have disabilities within jobs and just society as a whole. So you shouldn't fear for asking for something that you need help with at any level or position. Again, it's your right to ask for accommodations at any process of the interview and even after the interview. So you are not only doing a disservice to yourself if you don't ask for that assistance. If you need an accommodation, always talk to ARC or HR at any company and be open and proud of who you are and your strengths.
I want to echo what Irma said, that I knowing that you have resources available to you and to ask, don't be afraid to ask the question. Ask what information is available, how you can avail yourself of the accommodation process. And it's best to do that, especially with applicants, to do that at the very beginning. So if you need some assistance with taking a test, don't wait until you take the test and then ask for the assistance. Ask for it up front.
I agree with what Georgette said about it. It all starts in the beginning. I mean, you don't want to get halfway through the process and then want to start asking the questions. I think you set the tone for yourself when you bring it up in the beginning, and that should help your career. Then people will get to know you and they'll understand who the person that you are deep inside. So that's what I agree on, and I think that will help any new hiring process.
Thank you so much, all. So for our final question, I wanted to ask about mentorship. So in your career, has there been someone who has functioned like as a mentor to you, or is there a way that you have functioned as a mentor to someone else, or that you have helped to empower? Can y'all talk about that?
Well, I haven't, as it relates to disability, I haven't been a mentor to someone, but I do have a role model, and it happens to be my co-panelist, Antonio Davis. As it relates to disability, Antonio has been an advocate and still is an advocate for the disability community. I know Antonio casually from just speaking to him in the lobby of the building or in the elevator, but I got to know him a lot better after CBS News featured his story. And he is an accomplished artist, and he's a painter, and he has a unique way of painting. And I just want to let Antonio know how much I admire what he's done with his life.
Thank you, Georgette. I really appreciate it. And far as me, I had a great colleague who was hired at the same time that I was when CTA had the settlement with Access Living and Equip for Equality. We was both brought in as ADA auditors, and he was a little older than me. He's a Hispanic gentleman with a great work ethic, and he showed me how to, discipline myself and really take the job serious and really commit to it. I always had it in my heart, but to be with somebody who knew the disability and also knew the city, the routes we used to go on, the 18th Street route that wasn't fully accessible. We used to have to sit out there, and some buses would come that didn't have a lift, didn't have a ramp. So, those things, it had me fearing just being out there, scared. But he would sit with me and say, don't worry about it. Another will come and it'll have a ramp. And it did, but it wouldn't have 288 accessible priority seats. So he'll let me go first, and then he'll sit out and wait. And his name was Fernando Rojas. He's not here with us anymore. But I've been able to take on the role as the ADA auditor for the last 12 years, representing authority and keeping us from being cited, doing the audits of the FTA, keeping the disabled community happy and enjoying my work to this day. So I appreciate the authority for keeping me on this long for my tenure.
I would say that my mentors here at CTA have been Elsa Gutierrez and Mike Connolly. I truly appreciate their faith in me. I came into CTA not knowing much about transit, but they saw and knew my strength in disability advocacy, and I'm just thankful that they have both encouraged me throughout this year and given me the tools to succeed and allow me to be creative in new ideas. And just like Elsa and Mike, I am always open to collaborating and hearing new perspectives from the public and colleagues, because the goal here is the same, to make sure that we are providing accessible and inclusive service to Chicago. So
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Irma, Georgette, and Antonio, for participating in this panel and answering these questions. Even I have learned a lot just by hearing you all speak, so much appreciated. With that, thank you for your time today, and I am going to turn things over to my colleague Juan to do our hiring presentation.
Right, fantastic. Thank you, Mindy. And to everybody, good morning. My name is Juan Vargas. I am the middle-aged Latino wearing the blue polo with the CTA logo on it. And today I am going to be going through our CTA careers presentation with you all. Now, to start off, what I would like to go over is our mission statement. Next slide, please. Now, our mission statement is as follows. Our mission is to deliver quality, affordable transit services that link people, jobs, and communities. Now, frequently, I am asked how I connect to this mission, what it means to me, and why I enjoy working at CTA. Well, I can tell you what this means to me easily. It means to me exactly what it sounds like. And that's exactly how I connect to it. I personally use CTA each and every day to get to work, to get home, and many other places. And I can vouch for them when I say that CTA is truly affordable, and they do, in fact, deliver very high quality services to all of us. Now, a big reason why I enjoy working at CTA, the people. The people are phenomenal. I come to work and it doesn't even seem like work when I work with them. And that is why I enjoy working at CTA. And now that we are all aware of our mission statement, what I would like to go on to now is just a brief overview of CTA. Next slide, please. And to begin, CTA approximately houses over 10,000 employees in union and non-union positions, which serve Chicago and its numerous area suburbs with over 130 bus routes and 8 rail lines. CTA currently has locations all throughout the Chicagoland area, which include but are not limited to our headquarters building, which is located at 567 West Lake Street, 7 bus garages, 9 rail terminals, and much more. And now that I've given you a brief overview of CTA, what I would like to go over with you is diversity at CTA. CTA is a diverse organization and has been for a long time. We employ people from nearly every neighborhood and zip code in Chicago. We are currently led by Dovro Carter, who is our first African-American president and is a champion of transit equity for our city. At the authority, we value diversity through our diversity task force and diversity, inclusion, and belonging council, equity through our red line extension, all stations accessibility plan, and inclusion through our monthly diversity, equity, and inclusion conversations, our veteran employee research group, and our disadvantaged business enterprise programs. Now, the Diversity Task Force, the Diversity Task Force and Diversity, Inclusion, and Belonging Council advise on initiatives that celebrate diversity and educate CTA employees on how to cultivate more equitable and inclusive engagement in the workplace. Now, through equity, we want to ensure that safe, reliable transit services and career opportunities at CTA are available to everyone. To that end, we spearhead projects that lead a more equitable transit system, like the Red Line extension, which will extend CTA's rail services through several additional neighborhoods on the south side of the city and promote transit-oriented development in those areas. At CTA and in compliance with ADA regulations, we ensure our facilities and vehicles are accessible to people with disabilities, and we also make sure that anyone who requires an accommodation in their application process or in their workplace are able to request needs-based accommodations. And through inclusion, the CTA is dedicated to ensuring we are a place where people feel like they belong. Our Equal Employment Opportunity Unit hosts company-wide ongoing diversity and inclusion discussions in the workplace for employees at all levels of the organization. These discussions create a safe environment for candid, respectful, and engaging conversations about inclusion and belonging at work. Our Veteran Employee Resource Group, also known as VERG, ensures our veterans feel represented at CTA by providing information, service projects, and networking opportunities to veterans and veteran allies. And finally, our Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program promotes contracting opportunities within transit for minority and/or women-owned businesses. While we're proud of the diversity that is already present at CTA and has been for a long time, we also acknowledge that there is always more we can do to provide a diverse, equitable, and inclusive workplace. That's why we continue to recruit through organizations to help us attract individuals with diverse backgrounds and perspectives who can contribute to our growth and development as an organization. And that is diversity at CTA in a whole, ladies and gentlemen. And now that we are all aware of diversity, what I would like to move forward to is talking about CTA's commitment to accessibility. Next slide, please. Thank you. CTA believes that accessibility provides greater inclusiveness, benefiting everyone by creating environments that are usable by all people. People come in all shapes and sizes and with a range of physical, sensory, and cognitive abilities. These abilities span a broad spectrum and can also change over a course of a lifetime. CTA supports the disability community by listening to feedback provided by CTA's ADA Advisory Committee, which advises our Chicago Transit Board. It provides the CTA with recommendations on our compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act, facilitates a dialogue between the CTA and the disability community, and increases the use of the CTA services by people with disabilities. We also provide accessibility to CTA's vehicles, stations, and shelters. Buses and rail cars are equipped with accessible features that include ramps and gap filler boards that allow people with mobility constraints to alight safely, designated priority seating, and wheelchair securement areas, Braille signage, automated voice announcements with accompanying text that share route and stop information, and interior LED signs displaying an automated announcement text. We are also continuing to add tactile bus stop signs on various routes. Hundreds of bus shelters are equipped with estimated arrival information on LED signs and push buttons that trigger speakers to announce the estimated arrival times for our riders with visual impairments. Personal support from CTA employees is available at every rail station, and customer assistance buttons can be used to request assistance. Other accessibility features at rail stations include audio and Braille equipped fare vending machines, wheelchair accessible fare gates, elevators and ramps, and tactile platform edging. CTA is committed to making the system 100% accessible through all stations' accessibility plan, which goes beyond federal requirements to add accessibility across the entire rail system. The CTA is working to accomplish this goal by retrofitting or rebuilding its currently inaccessible rail stations, as well as proactively rehabilitating or replacing its existing elevators throughout the rail system. The proposed ASAP program, the proposed ASAP upgrades also include accessible entrance and doors, accessible routes from curbs to platforms, improved directional signage, enhanced lighting as appropriate, removal of platform obstructions, and accessible employee facilities. The Red Purple Modernization Project aims to rehabilitate and rebuild the red and purple lines and includes plans to provide better infrastructure on our system to people with disabilities. This includes a complete rebuild of stations to be ADA accessible, including the installation of elevators and widening the platforms. Stations currently being redesigned to be ADA compliant through RPM include Lawrence, Argyle, Berwyn, and Bryn Mawr. Wow, CTA is really making a big effort to ensure that its services are 100% accessibility. I love it. And now that you know about that, what I want to dive into now are the CTA careers. Slide, please. Thank you. Okay, now CTA currently has 6 lines of business, which are operations, management, infrastructure, law, technology, and administration. To begin, I'll start off with operations. Now, within our operations section, we have our bus operations department, our control center department, and our rail operations and rail station management department. Now, operations is one of the largest areas at CTA with approximately 8,000 employees. Now, in bus operations, the positions that you could fill are bus operators, which are people that drive the buses. And within our control center, we have controllers and communications coordinators. And as a communications coordinator, you will ensure that everybody inside and outside of the control center is able to communicate with one another successfully. And within our rail operations and rail management, station management, excuse me, we have managers, flaggers, rail janitors, laborers, coordinators, customer service assistants, and rapid transit operators. And as a customer service assistant, one that I would like to highlight, you will sit at one of the many posts that we have that and make sure that all of our customers know how to operate or move throughout our post. And with that being said, what I would like to move on to next is our maintenance section. Next slide, please. So coming on to our maintenance section, we have our bus maintenance department and our rail maintenance department. Now, our maintenance section is another very, very, very large area here at CTA. And within our maintenance department, our section and our bus maintenance department, you have bus mechanics, which are people that work on the buses to ensure that they start up, go forward, stop, reverse, ensure that they are accessible for everybody, and much, much more. We also have bus servicers and managers in that department. Now, within rail maintenance, we have car repairers, mechanics, electrical workers, and managers. And as an electrical worker within the rail maintenance department, you're going to ensure everything that has to do with the electrical side of things is good to go for service all throughout the day. And if not, then you'll be the go-to person to ensure that it is. And with that, I would like to move forward to our next section, which is infrastructure. Thank you. Now, our infrastructure section provides support to ongoing capital projects that involve all areas, from crafts and trades to civil engineers to project managers. Now, within our infrastructure section, we have departments such as power and way, construction, engineering, and facility maintenance. Now, some of the positions that you could fill in these departments are as follows, but are not limited to project managers, coordinators, clerks, track workers, electricians, and iron workers. All of these positions, and even the ones that I haven't mentioned within this section, they maintain all our facilities and help the general upkeep of transit stations across the city. And since we're done with infrastructure, I would like to move on to law and discuss our law section with you all. Next slide, please. Thank you. Now, our law section has departments such as general counsel, corporate law, torts, labor and employment, and compliance, policy and appeals, which are, which has positions such as attorneys, legal assistants, paralegals, and project specialists. Now, the Office of the General Counsel provides legal assistance to the CTA. The General Counsel heads the law department, which is comprised of 122 positions, including 55 attorneys. The law department employs a wide spectrum of practitioners who provide advice in specialized areas, including real estate transactions, construction disputes, labor and employment, ethics requirements, and review and negotiation of grant agreements. The department also employs litigators who handle commercial disputes as lawsuits brought against the CTA. And that sums up our law department, which will lead us into our next one, which is technology. Next slide, please. Thank you. Now, our technology section has departments such as enterprise application, transit system support, control center support, and IT support and telecom services. Now, positions within these departments are as follows, but remember, are not limited to. They are communications engineers, project specialists, network architects, and system administrators. Our technology team delivers innovative, quality, and reliable technology solutions that focus on advancing CTA's mission while connecting its riding public and enhancing the ridership experience. The enterprise application team develops and maintains applications and data services such as our intranet sites, our database management software, our budget software, and much more. Our control center support provides support to CTA's most critical bus and rail systems that help our staff do things like track power and monitor alarms, view train schedules and run intervals, and communicate with bus operators to report incidents that occur. And our transit system support provides support to our major transit system projects, such as our LED bus tracker signs and the systems that allow us to locate specific vehicles within our garages. Finally, our IT support and telecom services team ensures efficient operations of voice, data, and wireless networks and provides comprehensive support and guidance for all current and future communication needs. So folks, that wraps up our technology section. Now what I would like to go over with you is our administration section. And next slide, please. Thank you. All right. Now, our administration team is composed of many units that work behind the scenes to make sure our system is running smoothly and efficiently. Now, departments within our administration section are as follows: finance, safety, communications, human resources, which I am in, training and workforce development, planning, and purchasing. Now, human resources, the department which I am in, is humongous. It has many different positions, many different reasons to make up such a huge department. Within our department, we have our talent acquisition specialist, which is the role that I fill. We have our HR specialist, which will ensure all administration and everything you need in order to be successfully placed in CTA is done. Excuse me. Now, with that being said, I want to go on to our featured careers. Next slide, please. Oh, thank you. All righty. So now we on our featured career slide. Now, just to give you a quick note, 2 out of 3 of these positions we regularly hire for often. And those are bus operator and bus mechanic. But now to go through all of them, I want to start off with Director of Strategic Planning and Policy. Now, within this position, you'll develop strategic initiatives and long-range rail and bus development plans. You'll also direct the development of midterm and long-term network plans and fleet plans. The salary for this position is between $150,000 and $160,000. Now I want to move on to bus operator. As a bus operator, you will operate a bus over an established route, adhering to a predetermined schedule in a safe, efficient, and courteous manner. The starting hourly rate for bus operator is $29.65, with a top pay of $39.53. And this position is full-time. We also have bus mechanics, and I want to go over that with you here now, because just like bus operator, it is a full-time position. But in this position, you will perform comprehensive maintenance and repair work on CTA buses. The starting hourly rate for this position is $41.90. And as I mentioned, just to make a quick note again, just like bus operator, it is a full-time position, and we hire regularly for these positions, bus operator and bus mechanic. And with that being said, I would like to move on to discuss with you all CTA opportunities. Now, in order to get to our open jobs page, you will have to go to www.transitchicago.com/careers. If you get to that page and you don't see a job in which you wish to apply for, that is okay, because we also offer an upcoming jobs page in which you can access at www.transitchicago.com/careers/upcoming job opportunities. Now, on this slide is what you will see or be able to access once you get to our careers page. Here, you will be able to see or access and apply for what jobs are posted. The only thing about this is they are posted every Friday, and for a minimum stay up of 2 weeks. So please keep that in mind, because the positions on the open jobs page will not stay up there forever. Remember, a minimum of 2 weeks, okay? Once you get to our upcoming jobs page, if you don't find a job in which you are interested in on our open jobs page, if you see something or are able to access something you like, please set an alert for that position, because that will then alert you when that job becomes available to apply for. And now I would like to move from this to discussing our hiring process. Next slide, please. Thank you. All right. Now, there are many steps to our hiring process. The average hiring process takes anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks. And we ask that you check your email and status page to find out your next steps, okay? Now, how to apply. Everyone must apply online on our career site. So visit www.transitchicago.com/careers. The first step is to fill out your profile. You'll then set up profile alerts for job opportunities, for job categories, or submit an online application. With that, we ask that you submit a resume. The reason is because applicants can get rejected without a proper resume for some roles. Please, please, please submit a resume when submitting an application, so that way you don't miss out on the opportunity to be here at CTA. Next slide, please. All right. Now, once you get done applying, you may have to take a test. Some, but not all, jobs require some kind of testing. Now, the types of tests that CTA has to offer are as follows: written and/or online, knowledge-based, skills-based, or practical tests. Now, remember, some, but not all jobs require some kind of testing. Not every position here will have you do a written, online, knowledge-based, skills-based, or practical test all at the same time, such as bus operator. For bus operator, you will have to take an online test. But for a bus mechanic, you will have to take a written or online test and a knowledge-based, skills-based, or practical test. Now, test results will be emailed to you within 7 to 10 days. And testing policies are passing scores are valid for 3 years. And for failing scores, you will have to wait 1 year before retesting for that position. Remember, that position. You could apply and test for another position, but for that specific one, you will have to wait 1 year. Now, once you get done with testing, comes the fun part. Then you're gonna have to go through a phone and/or video interview. Next slide, please. Thank you. Now, the first interview, if one is required, is by phone. The second interview is via Zoom in order to observe social distancing. All positions will have at least one video interview with an HR representative and department manager. Interviews typically take 30 to 45 minutes. During this time, we will focus on your work history, education and skills, and previous experience. Now, for me, interviews are pretty nerve-wracking. I get very nervous, but there are resources to prepare for any sort of interview. And I am indeed a resource. Now, I can't give you the answers to be fully successful in your interview, but I can give you some tips to be very, very successful. Next slide, please. And they are as follows. We ask that you review the job description before the interview and think about how you meet the requirements. Also, please log in early to the interview to test your connection and video. Please set up in a quiet place to interview with minimal distractions. We ask that you please wear appropriate interview clothing and present yourself in a polite and professional way, and that you provide answers about what you have done that demonstrate your experience. Remember, these aren't the answers, but there are some tips. So please try and remember my tips so that way you are very successful in your interview. And with that, once you get done with your interview and the manager says you are amazing, then you will move forward to our pre-employment process. Now, during our pre-employment process, you will have a background check ran, which is a background check process. We will be asked to submit fingerprints, and your background will go through the FBI, Illinois State Police, and higher right databases. Now, you will also have to go through a medical physical, which will or could include a Department of Transportation physical, a human performance evaluation exam, a drug screening, and COVID-19 vaccination review. You will also, or you could potentially also go through our fatigue and sleep apnea awareness course, which upon completion, you will receive a certificate in which you will provide to us for review. Now, with that being said, delays in any of the pre-employment steps can affect the start date. So we ask that you please be proactive and communicate with us if there are any issues or if you have any questions, so that way we do not delay any steps. Now, with that, what I would like to give you is a brief snapshot of the hiring process timeline. First, you're going to apply. After that, you're going to take a test, if applicable. Remember, some, not all job positions here require a test. After you pass your test, you're then going to interview. After the manager says you are amazing, you're then going to be sent an offer. After you accept that offer, you're then going to go through our pre-employment process, which I just went over. Once you successfully go through our pre-employment process, you're going to be invited to the most exciting day, your most exciting day here at CTA, your first day, which is new employee orientation. And there, you're going to get a bunch of information on what CTA has to offer you, what CTA can do for you, and things of that nature. And with that, now I need to go over our COVID-19 vaccination requirement. Now, the Chicago Transit Authority requires all employees to be COVID-19 vaccinated. If you are offered employment, you must provide proof of full COVID-19 vaccination or proof that you are in the process of becoming fully vaccinated as part of the hiring process and as a condition of employment. For more information, please visit www.transitchicago.com/careers. And moving forward, now that we've discussed our hiring process, our careers, and our COVID-19 vaccination requirement, what I would like to go over is our benefits, the amazing CTA benefits. Now, CTA does offer medical benefits for full-time and part-time employees. You will also be able to use CTA, PACE, and Transit for free. Yep, for free. An amazing benefit that CTA has to offer you. Also, you will have retirement options and be enrolled in CTA's pension. Now, one of my favorites is this: paid training from day one. You see why that is one of the most exciting days here at CTA? Because you're already getting paid from day one. Now, another favorite of mine that CTA has to offer is ongoing professional development and career advancement opportunities. Now, I know I start where I start, but I don't want to stay where I start. I want to reach my full potential. And luckily, CTA offers resources that will guide me in order to do so. Another thing or benefit that CTA offers is reasonable accommodations. Now that I'm all wrapped up with talking about benefits, I have a very important question for you. Are you ready to apply? If so, please use your cell phone's camera app to scan the image below or visit our website at www.transitchicago.com/careers. No need to fill out another application for the same position if you have already done so, though. For more information on starting your career with CTA, including all open positions, please visit www.transitchicago.com/careers. For application assistance or questions, contact CTA Careers at transitchicago.com. To request a reasonable accommodation in the application process, please email ARC, ARC at transitchicago.com. Thank you for your time, and that concludes my part of today's presentation. Hey, Mindy, you are muted currently.
Sorry, y'all. Thanks so much, Juan. And thank you so much to our panelists once again for participating. We have run up right at the 1 hour mark, which means that we unfortunately will not have time for a Q&A today. However, if you are interested in applying, I will reiterate, you can do so at transitchicago.com/careers. And you can also email us if you have any additional questions. You can reach us at, I believe it's hr@transitchicago.com. If there's another email that we should be using, Delon, please put in chat or speak up. But otherwise, everyone, thank you so much for your time today. Appreciate you all sharing. And thank you all for attending.
And Mindy, that's CTA careers at transitchicago.com would be a great place to go if you have questions. We're happy to answer. Thank you.